Hi guys, so the Brexit Opportunities Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg was in the House of Commons on Thursday answering questions, well, not answering questions, responding to questions about possible Brexit opportunities and government efficiency. He was challenged by SNP MP Brendan O'Hara on both his job and the possible opportunities stemming from Brexit for Scotland. And well, Mogg answered as you would expect Jacob Rees-Mogg to respond.
Mr Speaker, I too wish to welcome the Secretary of State for Fantasy Island to his place. Sorry.
The Minister for Fantasy Island.
Brexit opportunities to his place. It's an easy mistake to make, particularly as he believes that Brexit is already a success and that there is no evidence that Brexit has caused trade to drop. This despite the ONS reporting that UK exports to the EU have fallen by 20 billion in 20 months. So how can we trust him to deliver growth when hitherto he has been unable to accept the evidence of the ONS and the experience of just about every exporter in the UK who is losing business while drowning in a sea of paperwork and bureaucracy?
Well done, thank you, Mr Speaker. First of all, may I welcome the cross-party support for the actions that the government is taking in regard to Ukraine and for the cross-party support for the people of Ukraine in these very difficult circumstances. As regards the honourable gentleman's further statement in regard to export, he may have missed that there's been a pandemic going on. I know that sometimes the SNP don't pay careful attention to public affairs, but this has had an effect on supply chains across the world.
Okay, well, the problem with that argument, Jacob, is that in the run-up to the referendum in 2016, Brexiteers like yourself were saying, as soon as the UK votes to leave, we will see the benefits of Brexit. In 2016. Then in 2020, in the run-up to leaving 2019, in the run-up to leaving in 2020, Brexiteers like yourself said, as soon as we leave, we will see the benefits of Brexit. And now you're saying, well, we couldn't see the benefits of Brexit because there was a pandemic. But at the same time, Brexiteers like yourself are saying that Boris Johnson got COVID done. That I don't believe it, but people within your party believe that the pandemic is over. So how can you blame the pandemic for not being blocking our ability to see Brexit benefits if after the pandemic, once again, I don't believe that the pandemic is over, but people like Jacob seem to think that after the pandemic we can see the benefits, and before the pandemic we couldn't see the benefits.
And it is one of many things that can't be blamed upon Brexit. But I'm delighted that Scotland is reaping the rewards of Brexit and has decided to have a green free port, which will be an enormous boost to the...
Scotland did not decide to have a green free port. Westminster decided about free ports, not Scotland. Notice he sort of slips it in that Scotland decided. No, Westminster decided. But once again, this area of free ports is not an actual benefit of Brexit. It's not actually a benefit at all because, for example, the European Union is cracking down on free ports because of issues of, for example, money laundering. I know people maybe like Jacob Rees-Mogg or the Tories don't mind money laundering. The EU has a problem with money laundering. I wonder why. So it's not an actual benefit of Brexit because until 2012, the UK had free ports. The UK was a member of the European Union in 2012. Do you know which government ended the use of free ports in Britain? A Tory government.
The economy of Scotland, and it will have noticed, or perhaps the honourable gentleman has noticed, that through the UKIM bill...
Just before we get to that, one of the free ports is going to the constituency of Dumfries and Galloway, which has the MP of Alistair Jack, who is the Secretary of State for Scotland. Now, the free port hasn't been set up yet, but this is one of the potential locations. Is it because the MP for the area is a Tory, I don't know.
More powers have been devolved to Scotland. And isn't it eccentric, Mr. Speaker, that our Scottish friends would like to be ruled from Brussels rather than being part of a United Kingdom? Well,
this whole thing about ruled from Brussels. Now, when the UK was a member of the European Union, money from Brussels would go to parts of Scotland, for example, and Wales, and other parts of the country as well, in England. But money would go to deprived areas. Lots of money. For example, in Wales, it was about £100 million a year. Now it's about £3 million. But it's not £3 million from Europe, obviously, because it's coming from Westminster. But that £100 million before from Europe would be, it would be the case of the government in Wales. They would decide how the money was spent. The same in Scotland. In Scotland, they would decide how the money from Europe was spent. That's not going to happen anymore. It's going to be Westminster, in a sense, the Tory party deciding, in a sense, how the money is spent in Scotland. This is the same with the Levelling Up Fund. Michael Gove, a few days ago, appeared in a select committee and he said, yes, this money will be a reserved issue. Levelling up is a reserved issue. It's not a devolved issue. It's not a devolved power. So the government in Scotland will not be able to control how the money is spent for the Levelling Up Fund. Westminster will decide. The government in Westminster will decide. The Tories will decide. So before, when it was coming from Brussels, the local people could decide. Now that it's coming from Westminster, the local people will not be able to decide. But for Jacob Rees-Mogg, that's an advantage. Less money, and you're not going to be able to spend it as you wish. And as I said, maybe one of these free ports are potentially going to the location where this Tory Secretary for Scotland is. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.